right, here we are in another episode of In a Matter of Minutes, proven and actionable processes to apply to your practice right now, right away. And before we get into what this Rule of 52 means and how it affects your practice, a couple of tentacles here. And when we think of fast-tracking new clients and the idea of referability, we know that there are two moments in the life of every practice and advisor that are particularly high when it comes to being referable. Number one, of course, is when the market is volatile. Typically people that are a little bit uptight or a little bit freaked out about the market. If you can sit down with this air of professional contrast and talk about the plan and the vision of the future and have a sense of peace and calm and we're on track, we know that clients respond to that and share that moment with friends and family members. Maybe even more importantly, though, is the moment of referability generated at the moment a new relationship is born or built. And we hear this a lot. A prospect sits down, and again, the idea of professional contrast. You sound different. The whole idea feels different. There's a fit meeting. Everything you do is built around a process. And so I am looking to make a change. I feel great about the relationship. I want to share that with people in my life, friends and family members. And so we know that the moment of a new relationship is a high moment of referability. Now, from there, let's talk about the idea just briefly of client acquisition. And for those of you familiar with USA Financial and obviously working with USA Financial, think of the amazing acquisition initiatives. There's Fill the Room, digital Fill the Room now. And these are programs that have decades of proven and actionable success. And everything else that the marketing department can do to generate and produce client acquisition. Now, I want to go to the other side of the scale. In addition to those acquisition initiatives, what if we put something in place that would teach the already convinced, your very best clients, the already convinced, to convince others on your behalf? And that's what we're going to talk about here and around the whole idea of fast-tracking new clients and the Rule of 52. Now, the Rule of 52 was a sociological study that was done a number of years ago that essentially said it's a birds of a feather study and said, like all of us know, that people tend to hang around with other people who are just like themselves. And the study went on to say that each person in any group has direct and significant influence over 52 other people. Now think of that for a second. That's a lot. And so the numbers really are going to get interesting here in a second. So before we do that, and before we start talking about the idea of your best clients, the already convinced, teaching others, well, let's take a little bit of a deeper dive into your practice. And some of you know that have worked with protocol that this is one of the early steps where we're going to look and see how the number of households you serve breaks down. And you'll know that households is how we approach it. We never ask how many clients do you have. Inappropriate question. We want to know how many households you serve. And over our history, the average size firm is about 200 households. Now, we have advisors and firms that have in excess of 500, 600 households. We have many that have less than 100. And all of them stellar, successful practices. So the number of households has no correlation on the success of the practice. So, but the average is about 200. If that was the case, the customers, clients, and advocates would break down this way. And again, it's one of the first exercises we do to understand where the opportunity gaps are. Customers we describe this way, people that are doing business with you, but they're also doing business elsewhere in town. And if the average size firm is 200, 60 customers would be there. The client group, the Moveable Middle, this is a very important group. These are people that empower you fully. They do all their business with you, but they don't introduce anyone. So there's probably some opportunity there. Some of those folks that are a razor's edge away from becoming the bottom group, advocates. And you see that the client number is about 130 typically. And the advocates, the people that empower you fully and will talk about you to anyone who will listen in a compelling way, about 10. So back to the Rule of 52. If we're focused just on our advocates, and we're not going to disrespect the other groups, but let's focus on the advocates. 10 of them, and each of them had direct and significant influence over 52 other people. Well, you do the math. In terms of client acquisition, not only are those leads, but I'd say that those are qualified leads. If your advocates fully and completely understand and appreciate everything you do and know how to talk about your process in a compelling way, that's a big deal. But let's take a step back for a second. And in the decade that I've been working with this exercise, and I love it because it does really work, I thought, well, maybe the exercise is full of it. And 52 is a number that's too high. So let's cut it in half and say it's the rule of 25. And then let's say even that's too high. So let's cut it in half again and then round it down and call it the rule of 10. And here's what I can tell you. You can take that to the bank. So many advisors we've dealt with, and even the clients we've talked to, everyone, you think of your own personal life. You easily have direct and significant influence over 10 other people in your life. And if this was happening with your practice and with your advocates, the question then has to be asked, if these people have the influence, what are they saying about you? Now, so many of you that have participated with us in the protocol division at USA, and you've developed and refined your process. We've helped craft the brand. We've built the brand library, all the client-facing pieces, all the verbiage, the consistency and the congruency. You know the effect. We have advisors that are telling us now it works so well that the only way to get an appointment with them is by introduction. Now, listen, before we move on really quickly and finish up with the exercise, the worksheet, I haven't even touched on the 130 yet. The movable middle, we called them. The people that empower you fully, but they're not yet making introductions. You're already thinking, the wheels are turning in your head. Of the 130 here, what's the percentage? 10? 10%? 13 of them? 5%. 6 of them that are a razor's edge away from being moved to advocate status. They have direct and significant influence over 10 or 25 or whatever it might be. And so you can see what's happening here, how this starts to multiply on itself, and why the exercise is important, and how we connect it to your brand, your process, and turn it into an actionable strategy for acquisition. Okay? Now, everything we do in protocol, these are just words. We're not just talking about stuff. There's the worksheet. And again, those of you that have engaged with us and done your coaching work with Aaron, that's one of the early exercises. And just what we've talked about, it's written right there. This is the loyalty ladder worksheet. What are the number of households? There's the customers, and the description is the same. They're doing business with you, but elsewhere. What's the number? What's the percentage? What do you feel is the opportunity there? Then on to clients, people that empower you fully. This is a big time group. It's important. They're not talking about you. What's the number? What's the percentage? How do we move some of those folks to advocate status? And then, of course, the advocates. These are the types of things that we do. These are the worksheets that start to reveal the opportunities, not just to us, but to you. So, the rule of 52, the rule of 25, the rule of 10, whatever it is. Your advocates, and indeed some of your clients that have direct and significant influence over other people, we need to understand what is it they're saying about you. So, if you're engaged with us, let's make sure that we're up to speed. We're making this process work for you. If you're not, you can find us. Get a hold of your business consultant or find us directly. We're happy to get started. And until we do, make sure that you stay grateful for the people in your life, your practice, and so many other things, and make every minute that you have matter.